A Global View. For global success, be prepared and informed. In Turmoil and Triumph, My Years as Secretary of State, George Shultz describes a dinner in Tokyo with the Japanese foreign minister following a very long plane ride from Washington. All in the U.S. contingent were bone-tired, and some could barely stay awake. I saw Paul Wolfowitz, the new Assistant Secretary for Far East Affairs, with his chin on his chest. He was passed a note during dinner that read, "Rule 1 for a new Assistant Secretary, never fall asleep during the Secretary's toast." Paul later asked the note passer, an experienced Foreign Service officer, how he managed to stay awake. "I have been sitting on my fork," he replied. Diplomacy is a cagey craft. It is that, and as business becomes increasingly global in scope, it is a craft that will be essential to business success, just as it has been crucial to relations between governments. For many Americans, it is necessary to get past first impressions that are often based on insufficient knowledge or stereotypes. William H. Sullivan, who served as an ambassador under Presidents Johnson, Nixon, Ford, and Carter, noted that in the first 35 years after World War II, pundits had difficulty in describing our international stature. One of the reasons for this difficulty has been the vast gap between public perceptions of the international scene and the more human dimensions of reality, Sullivan writes in Obligato, Notes on a Foreign Service Career. As a people, we have, through most of our history, been intoxicated by some rather jingoistic exaggerations of the international context in which our nation exists. Perceiving through these distortions, most of the American public failed to understand that much of our post-war paramountcy was due to the enormous destruction that other nations had suffered. While first impressions can be erroneous, many of the perceived barriers to international business, such as language, financial red tape, and political instability, are real, writes Jack Nadel in Cracking the Global Market. What is imaginary, he says, is their severity. Once knowledge is acquired, fear usually disappears, and once understood, most of these problems can easily be overcome. Languages and cultures require serious ongoing study. Unfortunately, for many Americans, the patience needed for that study is itself a barrier. It seems that there is no other country in the world where people want to act as quickly as we do, writes Henry Rodkin in The Ultimate Overseas Business Guide for Growing Companies. In some places, our apparent desire for speed and efficiency is quite often seen as impatience, or as crude, unmannered, and even a bit barbaric behavior. In World-Class Negotiating, Deal-Making in the Global Marketplace, authors Donald W. Hendon and Rebecca Angeles Hendon write that successful international negotiators understand and work effectively with the decision-making processes peculiar to the countries they're dealing with, possess a keen intuitive sensitivity in an intercultural situation, can communicate effectively with their local counterparts, have a personal stability, a sense of inner security, and the ability to handle stress on the job. International business certainly has been affected by recent rapid advances in technology and transportation, but the long-standing necessity for skillful preparation and communication remains vital to success. And if you're suffering from jet lag at an important business dinner, make good use of your fork. Sleeping through the meeting isn't considered good manners anywhere. Globalization in the Information Age by Larry Holman. This is an exciting time in the information age, a time of increasing globalization when the world does indeed seem to be getting smaller. I made an around-the-world tour from Lexington, Kentucky to Seoul, South Korea, with more than a dozen stops in between to promote the first worldwide Lessons in Leadership series. Almost everywhere I went, whether to speak to a group in Johannesburg or to have dinner in Bangkok, questions were being discussed about how globalization will change our lives. I'm an optimist, and by nature an excitable one. I'm both optimistic and excited about how globalization, particularly as it relates to information, will enhance our businesses and our lives. I agree with business trend analyst John Nesbitt that telecommunication is the force that is driving the current global economy. I also believe globalization will result in new markets and new types of employment. Individuals, corporations, and countries working in concert with one another, often from great physical distances, will reap new rewards. By expanding the distribution of information globally, cultures will be enriched and opportunities for learning will be enhanced. That excites me. The first Worldwide Lessons in Leadership series, a 4-part program spanning more than 40 countries worldwide, is an appropriate symbol for my excitement. That series connected with closed-circuit locations in North America, South America, Europe, Australia, Asia, and Africa. The program featured the world's most renowned authorities on leadership. Dr. Stephen Covey, author of The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, Dr. Tom Peters, author of The Pursuit of Wow, and Dr. Peter Senge, author of The Fifth Discipline. It was certainly an incredible opportunity for global learning and the exchange of ideas. I also believe globalization will bring leadership challenges as well as excitement. Author Jeremy Rifkin, in his book The End of Work, points out that the road to a new age of global markets could lead to a terrible abyss unless leadership effectively prepares for it. It could perpetuate growing numbers of workers cast off by the marketplace due to radical transformation in the way the world does business. Globalization will certainly create greater and more complex demands on leaders with the need for different approaches and incentives. In the past, many leaders shaped their organizations based upon their personal experience, belief system, and management style. In the new era, leaders will be challenged more to manage relationships. Leadership will include the ability to work effectively in interacting with a diversity of partners and other businesses, and within the larger context of differing cultures. In this increasingly complex world, leaders will also be required to function within the context of an incredible rate of change, coming in part from the tsunami of information and technological advances headed their way. The challenge for many will be to manage the tensions between these changes and the needs and values of the organization and of individuals. My recent global trip gave me insights into one aspect of this phenomenon. I get very excited about business, and I don't hesitate to show it. While trying to adapt to what I thought were more traditional, reserved methods for doing business in different countries, I received some important advice. Be yourself. Although it is important to observe and honor the varying cultures, you have to be you. After several meetings in which I just tried to be myself, and in which I let my excitement show, I got the results I wanted, and feedback that valuing my own style was not only successful, but also appreciated. From this, I learned an important lesson as a leader. While information globalization may signal unlimited transformation, there are some qualities that are important to keep the same. "13 Steps to Open Yourself and Your Organization to Diversity" by Sam Deep and Lyle Sussman. Business is becoming more global and our workplace more diverse. Today, being effective means knowing how to deal with the inevitable differences associated with gender, race, ethnicity, values, beliefs, physical abilities, and job classifications. These differences can result in serious conflicts when we don't understand or respect each other. These same differences also represent important opportunities. By learning to value each other and by learning how to manage interpersonal conflict bred by differences, you become better prepared to create high-performing work teams and to serve your diverse customers with distinction. 1. Acknowledge your biases and prejudices. We all have prejudices. They were taught to us at an early age, and we develop new ones every day. That's part of the human condition. However, when your prejudices block others from making meaningful contributions, you fail yourself and your organization. Consciously work to manage your own biases so they don't become barriers. 2. Practice reframing. When you're in a situation where your biases come up, challenge them. For example, if John, an applicant for a management position, says he likes to spend as much time as he can with his children, your biases might lead you to conclude that he's a stable family man, likely to work hard. If another applicant with the same qualifications, Mary, says the same thing, your biases might lead you to think she's probably going to be distracted and absent a lot to take care of her family. In this case, reframing involves seeing Mary just as positively as John for her dedication to her family, and perhaps even marveling that she has achieved so much while raising 5 children. 3. Look for opportunities to learn from others. Seek the benefits that divergent perspectives bring to your work team. Practice walking in other people's shoes. Ask your colleagues in another department what their experience is like. Remind yourself of a time when you felt isolated because you were abroad or the only member of your gender or race at a large meeting. Use that memory to empathize with newcomers. Listen carefully to different people's perspectives. This enables you to make wiser decisions about how to improve your work team and serve your customers. 4. Create diverse decision-making teams. If you want to invent a better mousetrap, you have to create a climate where you can get diverse ideas generated. Homogeneous teams give you limited perspectives. Make sure that your work teams represent a wide range of views and experiences. It will improve employee morale since your valued workers won't be excluded. 5. Value your own difference. Each of us is a culture unto ourselves. We have all had unique experiences based on our age, race, gender, job experiences, family background, the places we've been, and the beliefs we hold. Valuing and managing workplace diversity begins with understanding and valuing yourself. By understanding and prizing your own differences, you'll respect and welcome other people's uniqueness. 6. Check your policies for inclusiveness. People do what's rewarded in their organizations. If you want to create a workplace where people are valued, your work policies must be inclusive. Is your scheduling of work hours sensitive to the needs of working parents? Do your products reflect the needs of customers from different racial or ethnic backgrounds? Can people tell the truth at work without fear of repercussions? Are company menus planned with different ethnic groups on your workforce in mind, considering issues such as dietary rules, ethnic cuisine? Are company events planned with everyone on your workforce in mind, such as planning games that many people can play, cultural outings many people would like? In short, do you treat people as they would like to be treated? 7. Challenge jokes, comments, and gestures that offend. Creating a healthy, inclusive workplace means making sure that no group members are made to feel less than their peers. Remind people of the negative impact of jokes, comments, or gestures that may alienate their colleagues or offend valued customers. State your expectations for company conduct clearly, then model the way yourself by avoiding such behavior. 8. Get feedback on how your behavior affects those different from you. Few managers have the good sense to regularly ask, "How am I doing?" Yet this feedback is absolutely essential for personal growth and managerial effectiveness. When in doubt about your behavioral choices in dealing with differences, ask. Then be willing to use what you learn the next time around. 9. Mentor or be mentored by someone different from you. People who mentor someone of a race, gender, or background other than theirs consistently report that they learn as much as the protege. Move outside your own comfort zone so you can gain and give new perspectives. 10. Ask your customers for their needs. Excellence in service begins with a commitment to diversity. Use customer feedback to become better at meeting the needs of many different kinds of customers. Your products and services will be sought by a wider range of customers. In addition, your organization will become the place of choice for a broader scope of talented employees seeking to make their fullest contribution. 11. Be inclusive in your use of language. Look for how your language and the language of your employees send exclusionary messages. For example, when businesswomen get mail addressed "Sir" or "Gentleman," they're reminded of their difference from the norm and feel excluded because of it. The woman in the hard hat who broke barriers by getting on a construction team is told the same by a sign that says "Men at Work." The man in your hospital who happens to be a nurse, or the man in your office who happens to be a secretary, hears the same exclusionary message when he's identified as a male nurse or male secretary. Consider the woman working to support her kids who is labeled "working mom," while her male counterpart is never called a working dad. 12. Assume other people's experiences are valid for them. Communicate in a way that sends the clear message, "This is how I see things, and I want to learn how you see things." When you insist on getting everyone to see things your way, you miss opportunities to learn from others. Rarely is someone's perspective right and someone else's wrong. It's usually a matter of different experiences leading to different perspectives. 13. Challenge the status quo. The gift of valuing diversity is that it opens your mind to change. It empowers you to be more creative and more adaptive to your environment. Take advantage of these gifts by welcoming change in yourself and in others. Reward those who bring new ideas and perspectives to the table. Constantly look for opportunities to experiment, take risks, and empower others to act in new ways. Many of the secrets of innovation and excellence are rooted in diversity. Recorded with permission from Smart Moves for People in Charge by Sam Deep and Lyle Sussman.